Hello, I am Tan Ipen from Group 10. My metric number is AF200141. Today, my group member and I would like to present soil compaction in highway construction. Let us begin with introduction. Soil is an uncemented aggregation of mineral grains and decomposed organic material, containing liquids or gases in the void spaces in between solid particles. It is used as a building material and it strengthens structural foundations and usually formed in the process of rock weathering. Rock weathering produces the mineral particles that make up the solid phase of a soil aggregate. Diagram on the left shows the picture of igneous rock, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks, whereas the diagram on the right shows the rock cycle. Next, we continue with weathering. Weathering is a process of breaking down rocks into smaller parts. Weathering process is not restricted to igneous materials only. Sedimentary and metamorphic rocks undergo the weathering process similarly. Weathering can be divided into two, which are mechanical weathering and chemical weathering. Mechanical weathering is the process which huge rocks are decomposed into smaller fragments without any change in chemical composition. Besides, chemical weathering causes the original rock minerals to chemically change into new materials. For soil compaction, it is defined as the densification of soils caused by the compressive mechanical stress to remove air. When air is pushed out of the pores between sand grains, the stress exerted on the soil will lead to compaction. Therefore, heavy machinery pressing on the soil surface is more prevalent in the soil compaction process. Ralph Roscoe Proctor invented compaction theory in 1933 while working on earth dams in California. The main objective of soil compaction is to create optimum dry density of compacted soil. Water content is used for compaction to determine achievement of dry density.
I am Ahmad Fahrul Naim bin Muhammad. My metric number is AF190019. And today I am going to present about soil compaction in highway construction. There are some available types of soil compaction that commonly used in the field of civil engineering, which are vibration, impact, kneading, and pressure. Vibration and impact compaction is classified as dynamic compaction, while kneading and pressure compaction is categorized as static compaction. And the table for the difference between standard Proctor test and modified Proctor test can be seen on the slide. As we can see, the modified Proctor test use the higher drop head weight hammer and more layer to achieve the maximum dry unit weight, and modified Proctor test has commonly utilized than the standard Proctor test. After the soil compaction is being done on the highway construction, sand penetration test is one of the tests to evaluate the degree of compaction of the compacted soil and the dry unit weight of the soil. On the slide, you can see the calculation for the test. Or Cpr test is to figure out the maximum load that the subgrade of the soil can withstand. This test is such to test the soil compaction that have done. Generally, the Cpr value at 2.5 mm of the penetration is higher than the 5.0 mm penetration. The result for 2.5 mm penetration is taken for the design purpose. The compaction on the subgrade of the highway will directly affect the hardness of the surface of the subgrade. The more compact of the subgrade soil, the harder the surface as well as the greater the Cpr value.
Hi, my name is Victor. Now, I want to discuss about the literature review. Now, I want to discuss the case study on the mixture of red clay and gravel on compaction features and construction management. There are some terms and conditions required on the subgrade soil. First, the liquid limit for the subgrade soil shall be greater than 80%. The plastic index shall be greater than 55%, and the soil does not consist of the roots, grasses, peats, and mud. This is because the subgrade soil is the foundation of the root. The poor subgrade soil will result in poor conditions of the roots. The table below shows that the material compositions, physical and mechanical properties of red clay. It can be clearly seen that the moisture content and the plasticity index for red clay is extremely higher. It indicates that the red clay consists of lots of voids. On the other hand, the consistency of the red clay is extremely slower. It means that it high in strength. The mixture consists of red clay and gravel. The sample of the gravel is taken from Zhonghui Highway from China, and the diameter of the gravel is in the range 1 to 100 mm. There are three types of tests, which is the gravitational compaction test, the vibratory compaction test, and the California bearing ratio test was done on the mixture of red clay and gravel. The gravitational compaction test can be divided into two methods, which are the dry methods and wet method. The dry method is control the moisture content of the mixture in the oven, while the wet method is control the moisture contents of the mixture under the sun. These two methods shows a similarity in the graph. It shows that there are two peaks is obtained on the graph. The second peak of the graph indicates the maximum dry density of the mixture. It can be clearly see that the maximum dry density of dry method is higher than wet method. From the vibratory compaction test, a S-curve graph is obtained. The gravel content in between 20 to 40%. It shows that it increased rapidly in the dry density, while for the 10 to 20% and 40 to 60%, it increased slowly. The maximum of the dry density for the mixture is about 2.35 gram per cm cube. The vibration frequency is one of the factors that cause the dry density of the soil. When the vibration frequency increases, the dry density also increases. Until the vibration frequency achieves 45 Hz, it decreases in the dry density. The maximum of the dry density is about 2 gram per cm cube. It shows that the best vibration frequency is about 45 Hz to achieve the highest maximum dry density. The vibration durations is also the factors that affect the dry density of the soil. From the graph, it can be divided into two parts. The vibration durations from 2 to 4 minutes is increased rapidly and slightly linear, while for the 4 to 6 minutes, it increased slowly. It can be concluded that the productive vibration time is about 5 minutes, and its maximum dry density is about 1.95 gram per cm cube. After the California bearing ratio test was conducted, it cannot be denied that the mixture of the red clay and gravel achieved high Cpr value, low water absorptions, less percentage of swelling capacity. There are 6 monitoring points done on the field test in the highway of China. From the field test, the result obtained shows the settlement of the foundations on the 6 monitoring point is decreases.
My name is Chia Zhenhui, AF200135. I'm going to continue to another case study. The case study title name is Analysis of Soil Compaction Using Product Standards in Highway Construction Design. Next, I would like to talk about the analysis of soil compaction using product standards in this case study. First of all, soil compaction is to achieve stable soil and technological specification for building foundations at good embankment condition. Next, a product standard is a laboratory test performed to determine the maximum dry density and optimal moisture content of a given soil. The comparison process in this case study is to compare a modified product test and a standard product test on soil compaction. The analysis process in this case study is to find out the suitable and the best product density of the soil, as the soil is one of the important materials in the civil engineering field for construction. We have to make sure the condition of soil, specifically the soil bearing capacity, as it should exceed the overall load of the building or the built construct. Next, I would like to talk about the importance of soil compaction and product test. Soil compaction is important and needed in the construction project in order to construct the best foundation for the construction. It decreases the soil volume as well as the pore volume of the soil. As for the product test, it is important as well as it helps us to determine the maximum dry density and optimal moisture content. In this research, the main purpose is to find out the optimal moisture content and the maximum dry density of the soil. The soil samples are the samples that passes through sieve number 4, and it is oven dry. As for the portal compaction tests, there are two types of compaction tests have been ran in this research, which is the compaction test in the laboratory as well as the field testing of sand cones. These are the results of tests. As for the standard product test, the maximum dry density is 1.64 gram per cm cube. The optimum moisture content is 15%. Degree of field density is 97.31%. As for the modified product test, the maximum dry density is 2.18 gram per cm cube. 13.8% is the optimal moisture content, and 73.54% is the degree of field density. From the results of tests, we can claim that the value of density degree from the standard product test, which is 97.31%, is illegible because the value is above 95%. While the value of density degree from the modified product test, which is 73.54%, does not meet the standard as it is below 95%. Last but not least, consolidation test has been done in this research as well in order to determine the speed of the settlement of the soil. Different pressure has been applied onto the soil in order to obtain the consolidation coefficient.
Hi everyone, I'm Tamin Kai, AF20130. Today I will continue to present the discussion. So the compaction is defined as a way to densify the soil by removal of air when the external force is applied to it. It is a common test to reduce the airfield porosity because it can be done in a shorter time. Two main reasons to compact the soil, which are increased load-bearing capacity, prevent soil settlement, frost damage. There are three different compaction tests such as Gravitational Compaction Test, Vibration Compaction Test, and California Bearing Ratio Test. There is two methods, dry method and wet method for Gravitational Compaction Test. The maximum dry density for dry method is higher than the maximum dry density for wet method because dry method is actually a dry-wet circulation. The red clay structure has been destroyed and it is irreversible. Hence, this causes the loss of bound water. Inversely, wet method will keep the bound water. Based on the result obtained from the experiment, the ideal vibration compaction frequency of the mixture is 45 Hz. From the graph above, we can observe that when the vibration time exceeds 5 minutes, the change in density is not significant. Hence, we can conclude that the best compaction is at the vibration time at 5 minutes. Therefore, the duration of vibration from the machine will influence the dry density of the soil. This proves that the modified red clay is literally and definitely better than pure red clay in the swelling capacity, Cpr value, as well as water absorption. The maximum dry density MDD of standard proto test is lower than that of the modified proto test. This is because the standard proto test uses 3-layer compaction in the sample mold only, while the modified proto test will use 5-layer compaction in the sample mold. The height of the free flow of the ramal is also different in both standard proto test and modified proto test, and this makes the optimum moisture content value different in both tests. The more stress is applied on the sample of the soil, the higher the maximum dry density and the lower the optimal moisture content. Hence, modified proto test is familiar to use in this area. Next, we continue to the conclusion. Soil is basically the main component that is used in the construction projects such as retaining wall, roads, dams, highways, and airports. It is hard, durable, and in low cost. The soil compaction is also crucial in the progress of construction due to it will affect the subgrade of the highway, which is the foundation of the highway routes. Red clay is famous to be used in the southwest of China. The mixture of red clay and gravel is even more suitable for roads construction after being compacted. It is proved by carrying out the compaction tests such as Gravitational Compaction Test, Vibration Compaction Test, and Cpr. Thank you.